I wanted to try the a7C at a wedding because weddings are not sprints, they're endurance races. Carrying your gear all day long is required, and you've got to have the stamina and the will to completely survive and advance. The less weight you're carrying all day long, the more energy you're going to have at the end of the reception. The a7C is really intriguing to me. It's 20% smaller and lighter body than anything before, but it still has the same 24 megapixel sensor from the a7 III. The camera weighs just 1.1 pounds, and that's with the battery and the card installed. It has 693 autofocus points just like the A9, and has real-time AF tracking and tracking for eye and face detection. It has built-in IBIS, 5 stops, and increased battery life. So Sony sent me an a7C to try out for a wedding I had last fall, and I really enjoyed myself. So let's dive right into the wedding itself. Here we go. Details are an important part of any wedding day, and I'm starting with the 35 1.8 on the a7C. So I'm just going to go through some images so we can see what I did. The dress is, hugely important, and you want to give a couple different looks of the dress, definitely. These are both with the 35 1.8 at f2. The getting ready stuff is important. It's not that people buy a lot of pictures from it. It's just that you're getting them acclimated to you and you being there. So getting them to ignore you and just kind of be there, and eventually they get tired of you, and it's good. So that's what I do. I love the 35 in rooms that are kind of small when all the getting ready stuff is happening, because by shooting pretty close to wide open, I'm at f2 here, I can blow things out of focus, but I'm still wide, and I can be very selective about what I want to show the viewer. In this particular one, the grandmother was really important, and I wanted to key on her. So everybody's out of focus except the grandma. It's the only time she got up and really did anything with the dress. So I wanted to make sure I recorded that. This is one of the little girls that are the brides, and just cute. I mean, it was hard not to shoot them all day, honestly. And again, here's the mom's getting ready, but the little girls also look in the mirror all the time too, like they're little princesses, and they're running around. It's just a neat, fun day. Details are really important. These people are really into ink, and tattoos are a big part of their lives and their lives together. And so, just is kind of a neat, non-traditional wedding picture. I think it's kind of cool. Notice I'm at 1.8. Even though it's a 35, technically a wide lens, the background's completely blown out because I'm right on top of her. I just love the 35. It's good for, they're looking out the window to seeing guests arriving, and it's getting closer to the time. And then we're going outside now, and I'm using a Westcott FJ400 as my light. I'm using kind of a medium light bank. I think it's 36 by 48 inches on a very heavy-duty light stand. It's a lot of weight to put on the stand, so I like to have a beefy stand, something with a Rocky Mountain leg too, so I can adjust, if it's an uneven terrain. I've switched now away from the 35 1.8, and I'm using the 24 to 105 G lens. It's an f4 static aperture lens, which I love, and it's just so universal, and because this is an outdoor wedding, it makes sense. So now the 24 to 105. Trying different things with her, different poses and stuff. She's kind of nervous and a little uncomfortable, but she's working with me. This is upstairs in this kind of little cupola thing. It's really neat. It looks over the whole event space down below the house and all that in the grounds. It's kind of neat. And it was overcast this day at this point, and it was very nice because it was pretty soft light and worked out for me. Notice I'm at 24 millimeter. Most people wouldn't think, the Sony glass on the Sony bodies produces very little distortion, so you can kind of use wide lenses more often than you might have before with DSLRs, honestly. And there's little girls again, so cute. And there's just the venue. It's important to make these pictures for the the bride and the groom so they can remember what they had before. Here's the wedding license and stuff, just little details I'm looking at. This is the minister that's preparing. He's trying to figure out where to sign and all this kind of stuff. And again, more people are arriving upstairs. Notice I'm still got the 24 to 105 on now. And I'm at 1600 ISO. It's pretty bright in this room with the window light. And there's again the venue, the DJ and the bar guy are kind of bored waiting around for things to start. I want you to notice the ISO here. This is 20,000 ISO. I didn't want to change lenses because I knew things are just about ready to start. The ceremony is about to begin, and these are the last final moments that the minister is talking to the groom and giving me instructions. And this is the mom of the groom, kind of admiring him. I mean, very handsome guy, and it's kind of neat. 20,000 ISO. You got to be watching all the time. There's little things happening around that are kind of funny. They're not funny at the moment, but they're really funny later. And you want to try to nail these things. Another detail picture. I'm just kind of bored. I'm waiting for everything to get started. It's kind of running late, as weddings often do. But I want you to notice that I've changed lenses again. And this is the 135 1.8. It's one of my favorite lenses in the whole world, man. This is one of the sharpest lenses I've ever used in my life. And it's a really good lens to isolate things from the background. So I use it interchangeably. So what I've got two cameras. I've got a 135 1.8 on one and the 24 to 105 on the other. So here's the 135. This is the minister getting ready to walk up. He's going to walk up the center aisle and prepare to begin the wedding. You can see the groom checking his watch to see how late they are. And here's from behind the minister with the 24 to 105. Just kind of waiting, and you can still knock things out of focus as long as you get close. And just, again, this is a handsome groom and just him like nervous waiting for the minister's direction. And here comes the groom and his mother and the dad coming behind. And you can see I'm using the 105 here, 24 to 105. I want you to look at the background because you're going to see some very different background in a few minutes when you see the 135 in use in the same location. Here's the 135 just doing super, super intense. So let me get the arrow out of there. Just IAF is such a gift for me. And here come the twins. This is the 135 now. Really different background because now the background's way out of focus. I'm at 1.8, shooting at 8,000th of a second at 160 ISO. As they come up the center aisle with the flowers. Again, 135, they're really far away. They've got to walk around that fountain to get up the main aisle. And just really nice. There's some power lines back there, but they're blown out of focus, so it's really nice. Now you see the 24 to 105 and how different it is. Now there's all kinds of stuff in focus. I'm at 40 millimeters here, and now you see that power line really back there in focus almost. And then the final moment where the bride's dad gives her away, and he's got a great look on his face. Nice little moment there. And sorry, this is a little out of order, but you get the picture. And now I've kind of walked around. 24 to 105 is such an amazing universal. It's a Swiss Army knife lens. It just does everything really well. It's really sharp, wide open. It goes 24, which is a super wide, then 28, 35, all the focal lengths that you might want to grab and change. Just instantaneous, switching around the zooms. It's really nice. I'm walking around. I'm trying to be careful. I don't walk around like obtrusively, but I try to, hide behind things if I can, stuff like that. The a7C is remarkable. You look at them in the shade and then all the people in the bright light and how the sensor is able to kind of hold it all together. It's really nice. 135 1.8 minister's a fuzzball, even though he's right next to them. This is what I love. This typically would be a very complicated picture with a 24 to 105, but with 135 1.8, everything is beautiful and you know exactly where to look at their eyes. Same thing here. Love this. Here's the kiss. Very nice with the ink. And the kiss continues, which is really nice. It's good for the photographer. I appreciate that. 135 1.8. And this is the first moment they've had alone being together that day. And you can see him fiddling with his ring and they're making a joke. And then this is their first kiss that's not public. They kissed in front of everybody, but now this is like, I love this. I love getting the first kiss after the first kiss. It's fun. And the 135 lets me stay away. It's a telephoto, so I can be distant from them. And it's really nice. So now everybody goes kind of into kind of cocktails, and I take them out in this grounds behind where they got married. Just three of us, and I'm shooting pictures. I've got the FJ400 going with the light bank, and we're doing different things here. So you can see I'm using the 24-105. It's super easy to work with that lens because whatever I want to do telephoto wide, it's all there. Here it is on the ground, 35 millimeter, just set it on the ground, trying to shoot the architecture and the trees and everything in the sky. A little kiss. Another frame, different light, little different pose. I backed up a little bit. I'm at 24 millimeter now, shooting really wide. Now I'm going to go into that gazebo, and now is where I'm doing all the family pictures. So this is the bride and her dad. This is the bride and his family, his mom and dad. And you can see I'm using ambient light. I mean, the sensor's so great in the a7C. It's just beautiful. Just really nice. Does such a nice job. Nice and sharp. Everything's sharp. Again, the 24-105, it's like the Swiss Army knife for wedding photographers. Yeah. Just moving them around a little bit. 26 millimeter. This was not working. I was trying to put them in that space there with that arch, and it just wasn't working. And so I flipped it around, and it was awesome because now I could see into the venue, the setting sunlight. Everything was just perfect here. The stone, everything was great. Handsome guy. Okay, this is during dinner. And so typically what I do during dinner is I try to stay busy, and I grab people from tables and say, hey, do you mind? You're here. You've been invited. I would love to make a picture of you for the bride and groom. And so I bring them up, and I just shoot couples pictures. And it's really fun. She did this with her brothers and then some of her friends and the girls and the guy, and here's a little family picture. I mean, just really nice. I don't want to sit around. I want to make really nice pictures even when they're eating, which means I have to eat really fast. This is one of the best friends of the groom. And then finally they're dancing. So it's still light out, but the twinkle lights are up there. But this is a 24-105. A lot of people wouldn't think you'd have great bokeh, but if you get up close, 56 millimeter, this is really nice. It looks beautiful. Now the 135-1.8. So the difference between these two pictures is remarkable, isn't it? I mean, now there's no background, and it just cleans up things so beautifully. I just backed up a little bit and then changed lenses. Here's the cake. Got a little messy. Little girls kept playing around with each other. It was fun. I really could have spent the whole day shooting just them. Sun is setting. There's some really nice light in the sky, and I coached them way early and told them at certain points during the reception, I'm going to come get you, and we'll have to go do some stuff. And so that's what we're doing here. And just little girls dancing with their daddies, and just, so much fun. I love shooting weddings. This is sort of the optimum. I kept watching the sky, and then when the sky got really sweet, I said, okay, guys, I need you over here. I set up the light in advance, so they're walking up to something I've already lit. They come in, I shot maybe for a minute or two, and let them go back to the party. This is the point where I'd get really tired, because now we're it's almost over. A lot of people have left the wedding, and it's just kind of getting late. And the bride and the groom are still going strong. You can see the parents over there on the right dancing. And this is where you get tired. But when you're working the a7C, it doesn't weigh anything. It's great. Little detail picture. This is a 35-1.8. Again, 6400 ISO. I just really like that one. And then leaving the reception. Heading off on their honeymoon. So you can see I started with 35-1.8. I end with a 35-1.8 when it gets dark. I love the speed of it and all that, and it's super, super light. By the way, the 3518 matches up so well with the a7C. The a7C just matches up perfectly with the 8518, 3518, the 28f2. These lenses are all awesome because they don't weigh anything. The 5518 I really like a lot with that combination as well. So I just really believe strongly. I think that the a7C is about the best wedding camera there is, just because it's so light, compact, and small. You can carry it all day, no big deal. Now, one thing I wanted to do is tell you that my friends at Bedford's Camera will give you 5% off if you use the code PMR. So if you go to bedfords.com, anything you buy and put in your cart, you can get 5% off by using the code PMR. Hope you've enjoyed this video and hope you consider the a7C for wedding work. It's really a powerful tool. Thanks so much for watching. I wanted to try the a7C at a wedding because weddings are not sprints, they're endurance races. Carrying your gear all day long is required, and you've got to have the stamina and the will to completely survive and advance. The less weight you're carrying all day long, the more energy you're going to have at the end of the reception. The a7C is really intriguing to me. It's 20% smaller and lighter body than anything before, but it still has the same 24 megapixel sensor from the a7 III. The camera weighs just 1.1 pounds, and that's with the battery and the card installed. It has 693 autofocus points just like the A9, and has real-time AF tracking and tracking for eye and face detection. It has built-in IBIS, 5 stops, and increased battery life. So Sony sent me an a7C to try out for a wedding I had last fall, and I really enjoyed myself. So let's dive right into the wedding itself. Here we go.